I'm Olivia, sitting on my beach house deck, watching the morning light transform the ocean into a canvas of silver and gold. I'm reminded of the long and arduous journey that led me here. It was a battle against the ones I once called family, a fight for my rights, dignity, and self-worth. It all came to a head during the trial. The courtroom was filled with tension as the evidence against my family was presented. The security footage showed my mother, Mrs. Helen Thompson, giving property tours, pretending to be the owner. Her voice was clear on the audio, saying, "My daughter's place. She's always so wrapped up in her work. Barely uses it. Happy to help the family." The jury's expressions shifted, and I could see the judgment in their eyes. Sophia Parker, the event planner, testified calmly and factually. She spoke about a charity gala I donated my event space to, highlighting my pattern of genuine generosity. She also detailed how my mother had systematically deceived her, using false documents and claims of ownership. The bank representative revealed that my mother had pocketed a $5,000 deposit for a wedding venue she had no right to rent out. The title company representative confirmed that only I had the legal authority to contract the use of the property, and my mother's signature was a forgery. The prosecutor presented what I'd named the ghost ledger. It was a spreadsheet filled with 34 entries, each one a record of the small but significant betrayals over the years. These were the moments when my family saw me not as a person, but as a resource to be exploited. Let me rewind a bit. I'm a successful businesswoman. After selling my tech startup, I bought this beautiful beach house at 4158 Ocean Vista Drive. It was my haven, a place where I could relax and enjoy the fruits of my labor. The deed was in my name alone, and I'd given my parents keys only for emergencies. One Thursday morning, I received an email with the subject line, "Smith Wedding Venue Confirmation and Deposit." I opened it absent-mindedly, thinking it was spam. But it was an invoice for $15,000 in event services to be provided at my beach house in 6 weeks. At the bottom of the invoice, it said it was discussed with the property owner, Mrs. Helen Thompson, my mother, who was definitely not the owner. I called the event planning company, Elegant Events. Sophia Parker answered. When I asked who authorized the use of my property, she was initially surprised. She told me that my mother had contacted them 3 weeks ago, saying I generously offered the beach house for my cousin Lily's wedding. I was shocked. I'd never offered, and I hadn't even been asked. Sophia came to my office later that day. She was in her late 30s, a professional with a look of controlled anger and concern. She asked to see my property deed. After comparing it with the documents my mother had provided, she confirmed that my mother had presented herself as the owner, signed the contract, and put down a $5,000 deposit. She also brought up the charity gala I donated my event space to. She showed me a photo from the gala, and I could see my custom-made sculpture in the background. She'd noticed the same sculpture in my beach house during the final site inspection. She realized that I owned both properties and that I'd been truly generous at the gala, raising $340,000 for pediatric cancer research without taking any tax write-offs. Sophia decided to cancel the contract, refund the deposit, and call the authorities. She understood that what my mother had done was not a simple family misunderstanding but identity fraud and contract misrepresentation. After that, I started compiling the ghost ledger. It was a painful process, but it helped me see the pattern of exploitation. Christmas 2021, I announced I'd sold my startup for $3.8 million. My parents' first response was to ask if I could help Lily with her student loans. They didn't offer congratulations or show pride. They just saw an opportunity to benefit someone else. In March 2022, I bought the beach house. My mother asked for keys in case of an emergency, but she used them multiple times in the first year for family gatherings I wasn't invited to. I found out when neighbors mentioned my mother's parties. In June 2022, Lily visited the beach house without permission, bringing 8 friends. They left wine stains on the custom sofa and cigarette burns on the deck. When I mentioned the damage, she just said, "It's just a house." In October 2022, at a family dinner, my mother told relatives that I was too busy with work to settle down. I'd been engaged for 3 months, but she hadn't asked about my life. Instead, she spent 40 minutes talking about Lily's relationship. In April 2023, I donated my gala venue worth $23,000 in rental fees. My mother's only comment was, "That's nice." A week later, she spent 90 minutes discussing Lily's need for a wedding venue, never thinking that I might help. 4 weeks ago, I called my mother to share the news that I'd been offered a position as the chief executive officer at a leading tech firm with a high-paying salary. She seemed distracted and immediately started talking about Lily's wedding and how I should offer my beach house. I firmly said no, but she couldn't understand why. By Thursday afternoon, I'd gathered all the evidence: screenshots of the invoice, photos of the forged contract, security system logs showing my mother's unauthorized entries, and bank records proving I'd never received the deposit. I called my attorney, Emily, and told her about the property fraud and identity theft. Emily filed emergency injunction papers, and by Friday evening, the locks were changed, security codes were updated, and cameras were installed. My mother called me, furious, saying that the wedding was canceled and that Lily was devastated. I told her that what she'd done was criminal fraud. The investigation was thorough. The county fraud unit requested all the documentation, and I provided everything. They interviewed me, my mother, my father, and Lily. Sophia also provided a detailed statement. The district attorney's office contacted me on the 12th day, asking if I wanted to proceed with the charges. Looking at the ghost ledger, I knew I had to. The charges were filed, and my mother hired an attorney to try to negotiate. But I refused. I was done being exploited. The family's responses were predictable. There were missed calls, threatening texts, and interference from extended family. Lily posted on social media about family betrayal, but when someone questioned her need for someone else's property, she deleted the post. The trial was a turning point. The jury found my mother, father, and Lily guilty on all counts. My mother received 18 months of probation, had to pay $22,000 in fines and restitution, do 250 hours of community service, and got a permanent record. My father got 12 months of probation for complicity, and Lily was ordered to pay $8,400 in restitution for the property damage. The judge issued a permanent restraining order at my request. Now, 8 months later, I'm at peace. I've learned that family isn't defined by blood but by respect, reciprocity, and mutual care. I've reclaimed my life and my properties. The ghost ledger sits in a locked drawer, a reminder of the past but also a testament to my strength and the rightness of my actions. I've finally achieved sovereignty over my life, and the balance is restored.